Hello, and welcome to the third CTIS Walk-in Clinic of 2025. My name is Maria Teresa Galandri, and I'm a project assistant here at the EMA. This is the agenda for today. Let me start with some housekeeping rules. Questions have been collected via Slido until 17th of September using the code #clinic251. If the video screen is blurry or difficult to see, please read the instructions in the gray box underneath the live broadcast section on the event page. There you can find a link to watch the live broadcast on full screen. Please make sure you have a stable internet connection. For more information on CTIS, you can consult various resources, some of them listed on this slide. The Clinical Trials Highlights newsletter, the CTIS training and support page, and for guidance on CTR interpretation, you can consult UDRLEX Volume 10. The CTIS Training Environment Survey is opened. On the side, you have the link to address and the QR code of the survey. The survey collects expressions of interest in accessing the CTIS training environment. All details will serve to practically identify the needs and intentions of those of CTIS and grant access accordingly. I would like now to introduce our experts. We have James Dorr, Scientific Officer at the European Medicines Agency, Katja Gonçalves, Scientific Officer at the European Medicines Agency, and Jan-Willem Kleinevink, Scientific Special Advisor at the Central Committee on Research Involving Human Subjects in the Netherlands. The question starts now. Let's start with the first question, and we have, for single country trials, in the case of RFI Part 1 or Part 2, could we have systematically access to both parts of the dossier for the response? For example, RFI Part 2 requiring a change to the SIS/ICF impacting the protocol, or vice versa, RFI Part 1 requiring a protocol change impacting the SIS/ICF. Jan-Willem, please.
Yes, indeed. To unlock both parts of the dossier, you would need an RFI on each of the parts. That's the only way to have access to both parts of the application at the same time. So there is no way technically at the moment to unlock the entire application with a single RFI. In an initial application or a substantial modification on both parts, though, it is likely that these two RFIs overlap in time, so you would still have access to both parts of the application. Also, it is best practice among the member states to keep the Part 2 assessment open for as long as possible if the Part 1 assessment is still ongoing, because it happens frequently indeed that changes to the protocol, for instance, need to be processed in the ICF. So keeping the Part 2 assessment open means you can send another RFI on Part 2 if possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan-Willem. Let's go with the next one. We have publication of summary of results for Category 1 trial in 30 months after EU-EEA end of trial. How is 30 months calculated? 30 months to the day, for example, end of trial 25th of June 2025, publication 25th of December 2026, or 900 days from end of trial, 30 days per month per 30 months, or 913 days from end of trial, 365 days per year per 2.5 years or other. James?
Yeah, thank you. So the due date for the publication of summary of results is indeed 30 months to the day. So in the example provided, if the end of trial date was on the 25th of June 2025, then the publication date would be the 25th of December 2026.
Thank you, James. Let's go with the next one. How is a sponsor to report an end of recruitment that occurs after the end of trial? For example, LPLV occurs on 1st of May 2025, but recruitment stays open until 1st of September 2025. If another participant is not recruited in that member state from May, September. The end of trial occurred before the end of recruitment. Katja, please.
CTIS was designed in a way that does not allow reporting an end of trial date that occurs before the end of recruitment in any country. The sponsor should justify the selected end of trial date by including explanatory supporting documentation in CTIS. Also, the CTCG has a frequently asked questions document that was released on July 2025 that has question and answers that tackles this question. It says that the sponsor should select an end of trial date that occurs after the last patient last visit date in all countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Katja. Let's go with the next one. For a complex platform study that needs multiple EUCT numbers, which EUCT numbers should appear in the master and sub-study sections of the protocol? All related EUCT numbers or only the EUCT number of the section of the protocol being assessed? Jan Willem, please.
Yes, there are several ways to approach this and to organize more generally a complex clinical trial application. And we are seeing increasingly questions about this too. So good to know that CTCG is preparing an update to their frequently asked questions document that is on the CTCG website. And this update will also provide some guidance on this topic. So I advise to wait a little bit until that is published. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on with the next one. Will there be any announcements in advance for the implementation of improved functionality in CTIS? As of 16th of September 2025, there does not seem to be announced dates for any additional CTIS improvements in 2025. Advance notice would be most appreciated, especially for enhanced Article 81.9 non-substantial modification in CTIS. James, please.
Yeah, so the implementation of improved functionalities in CTIS are communicated through various media and fora. For example, we have the Clinical Trials Highlight newsletter, as well as through fora such as the CTIS Forum and CTIS Info Day. In one of the upcoming Clinical Trials Highlight newsletters, information is also planned to be shared regarding the CTIS modernization roadmap in order to provide information about the long-term planned changes to CTIS. Once an update to CTIS is deployed, the changes are also described in the release notes published on the CTIS website. Regarding the enhanced Article 81.9 non-substantial modifications in CTIS, development is expected to be concluded by the end of September, and deployment in production is planned for the maintenance release scheduled by the end of October. This is assuming the outcome of the user acceptance testings is positive.
Thank you, James. Let's go with the next one. In a platform complex trial, is it permitted to have the master protocol under multiple EUCT numbers? For example, would sub-study 1 and sub-study 2 under different EUCT numbers both have a copy of the master protocol, or must the master protocol only be submitted under a single EUCT number? Jan Willem?
Yeah, you probably guessed it. My answer is going to be the same as on the previous question. Please keep an eye on the CTCG website for an update of the FAQ document. Thank you.
Thank you. We are seeing RFI's conditions where a trial with 2 stages, dose-ranging efficacy, is required to submit intermediate interim results as a substantial modification application and receive approval before the next stage begins. This delays the trial. Would submission via interim results be an alternative to a substantial modification? Jan Willem?
Yes, it might be, and there might be an alternative option also of a non-SM application. In both cases, interim results or a non-SM application, there is no assessment and authorization formally by the member states. But it's not possible to give a general answer here, because it may depend on the nature of the clinical trial, and especially also what is described in the protocol in terms of criteria for proceeding to the next step. So based on this, the member state might, in some cases, but not in other cases, agree with this or that option. So it's not possible to give a general answer here.
Thank you. Let's go with the next one. Plan push emails for notices and alerts. To which email address shall these be sent? Sponsor public contact points. When will this become effective? James?
Yeah, so this functionality is currently under development and it's planned to be available to all CTIS users. The expectation is the users will receive an email per notice or alert they receive. The email will be sent to the address they are registered within CTIS, and users will have the option to receive these emails or not to receive the emails. Due to the large number of emails that may need to be sent within a short period of time, the EMA is working with the contractor to explore the use of a cloud service in order to enable this functionality. For this reason, the exact date of implementation is not yet known, but when there is more clarity regarding the date of implementation, this will be communicated through the clinical trials newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go with the next one. We're seeing assessment RFIs on improved protocols, no changes in the following substantial modifications. Additionally, we have a recent RFI asking to provide a statement in the protocol and in the charters where the DMCs function in line with the 2005 EMA CHMP EWP 587203 core. Is this in keeping with the EOCTR? Jan-Willem, please.
Yeah, regarding the first point, the principle is that something that has been assessed and authorized before should not be reassessed at a later moment. So only the changes that are submitted in a substantial modification should be assessed. There might be, but this is really an exceptional situation, there might be something that is both very relevant and impactful and was overlooked previously. In such an exceptional situation, you can imagine as a member state, sending an RFI on that topic, but the principle, no, we should not. Then regarding the second point on the DMC, so in the CTR, there's very little mention of the DSMB in general. It mentions that if there is a DSMB, then the charter should be submitted. So this reference that is mentioned in the question here is not in the CTR. So I would say no, it's not in line with CTR. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go with the next one. Article 87 of the EU CTR requires a single fee, and Article 86 provides a fee is set in a transparent manner. Sometimes 3 fees are required in CTIS per member state concerns. It is frequently not possible to know in advance the expected fees for many member state concerns, even using CTCG guidance. This adds 15 days to evaluation. Jan-Willem, please.
Yes, I'm aware that the fee structure differs per member state, and this is also a member state matter, so it's not harmonized. And we acknowledge that sometimes the fees, or maybe often even, can be a source of delay of the application. Regarding the single fee, so I'm not familiar with the fee structures of the other member states. In the Netherlands, I can say as an example, there is a single fee, but it consists of a fee for part 1 and a fee for part 2, if that's applicable, and also depending on if there's a new IMP submitted. But in the end, that constructs into a single fee in the end. So in specific situations where the requirements and considerations of a specific member state cause delays, I advise to contact that member state. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the next one. Is it possible to submit ASR while other assessments are ongoing, like substantial modification, member state concern addition, etc.? Katja, please.
Yes, it is possible. CTIS allows annual safety reports to be submitted in parallel with other ongoing applications, and CTR doesn't prevent the submission of these annual safety reports and other substantial modifications or applications at the same time. However, we recommend that if there is a substantial modification to change the sponsor, that the sponsors wait until this procedure is finalized, because there was some incidents that were detected in CTIS when the annual safety report was submitted while an SM or other applications were still under evaluation. To avoid any technical issues, it is therefore advisable to wait until the SM for change sponsor is finalized before submitting the annual safety report.
Thank you, Katia. Next question. When will be available list of questions and answers from bite-sized talks and walk-in clinics? Katia, please.
The recordings of our events are always available briefly after the events occurred. Regarding a list of questions from these events, the questions received are reviewed to verify whether they are already addressed in existing guidances or not. The latest version of the Sponsors Handbook that we published in July 2025 includes already information on CTIS technical aspects that were not covered previously elsewhere, but were frequently raised in these events. This approach will continue in future updates of the Sponsors Handbook, and also in parallel, the CTCG has published a dedicated frequently asked questions document on questions that pertain to the member states assessment that were not clarified previously in any guidance. At the same time, EMA is working on a document to have frequently asked questions to capture the questions for which guidance is not available in any other sources, including the questions that we receive on bite-sized talks and walk-in clinics that are not covered in any guidance.
Thank you. Next one. When changes are required to the application when responding to an RFI, any document version needs to be created and uploaded on top of the previous version. Is it possible to remove the new uploaded versions for publication and not for publication if typos are detected and upload the correct new version? Thanks. James?
Yeah, so it is possible to delete a document that has been incorrectly uploaded when preparing a response to an RFI. However, if it concerns a for publication document with a not for publication document associated to it, it would not be possible to delete the document until the associated not for publication documents have been deleted. In such a case, users are advised to either first delete the associated not for publication documents or to discard the changes made in response to the RFI so that they can prepare the response again.
Thank you. Moving to the next question. Will CTIS be updated to allow sponsors to include the planned number of participants at each site? Many member states see this as required by the EU CTR, but CTIS only sponsors entering the planned number of subjects at the member state level. Katja, please.
Currently, CTIS supports entering the planned number of participants per member state as it is required by the Annex 1 of the CTR. The functionality to capture site-level planned enrollment is not foreseen as it is not a requirement from the CTR.
Thank you. Next question. What is the best practice in CTIS for summary and lay summary of results when no participants are enrolled? Should the sponsor indicate no results will be submitted in the anticipated date of summary results? Would a blank document or statement be needed for public submission confirming no results? Katja?
Thank you, Teresa. According to the CTR and its Article 37.4, the obligation to submit a summary of results and lay summary applies to all clinical trials, even if no participants were enrolled. In such cases, the sponsor should still submit the summary of results and lay summary in CTIS, indicating that no participants were recruited and therefore no data are available for analysis. Then, it is not sufficient to leave the fields blank or to indicate no results only in the anticipated date section. A short document may be uploaded via CTIS, confirming that no participants were enrolled and no results exist is best practices. because this will ensure the transparency in the public register and properly will close the trial record.
Thank you. Next question. What is the best practice when another sponsor's final assessment report is uploaded by the RMS? Raise an EMA service desk ticket asking for the incorrect final assessment report to be removed and the correct final assessment report to be uploaded. Would the other sponsor be notified by the EMA of the error? Would the RMS need to take action? James?
Yeah, thank you. So if a final assessment report corresponding to another trial has been uploaded by a member state, then the member state should open a service desk ticket to request the replacement of the document. The EMA will then replace the document, and the member state may then contact the sponsor according to their own internal procedures. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Request to submit translated cover letter was received from France. English version should be sufficient according to Annex 2 of the Q&A to EUCTR. Katia?
According to the CTR Q&A, Annex 2, the cover letter for submissions in CTIS should be provided in English. Therefore, we would kindly suggest the sponsor that submitted this question to contact the French authorities and clarify the requirement.
Thank you. Next one. Provided a trial recruits only patients who completed another trial and the recruitment was possible still after the actual LPLV, how should study ends defined as LPLV in protocol and recruitment and be specified in CTIS given the technical restrictions that LPLV must be after recruitment ends? James?
Yeah, so for this one, we're not entirely sure we understand the question fully. But essentially, if there are two separate trials, each will have its own milestones. And so from a CTIS technical perspective, these are independent of each other. And as Katia mentioned previously, CTIS does require that the recruitment end date precedes the end of trial date. So if the protocol defines the study end as the last patient last visit, but recruitment of rollover patients continued beyond that point, due to the specific protocol and the conduct of the trial, sponsors should nevertheless enter the dates in CTIS following the system requirements. And that means then that the end of recruitment date should be before the end of trial date. If needed, additional clarification can be provided in a supporting document to explain the exact sequence of events. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. Is it mandatory to update number of patients in member state concern section after end of recruitment? Are numbers in member state concern section only number of planned patients and no update is needed during the trial duration? Similarly, is it required to update number of planned subjects per site after end of recruitment? Jan Willem?
Yeah, thank you. This is a bit related to the earlier question, I think, that Katja answered. I think the middle question is correct. This section in CTIS is meant for the planned number of patients, so you fill it in the initial application. And I'm not aware of any requirement in the CTR to have any updates on this section. The CTR mentions that when, after end of trial you submit your results, that's when you give an update and provide the actual definitive number, but to my knowledge, not during the course of the trial. And for sites, we discussed earlier, not a possibility in CTIS, and to my knowledge, also not a requirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. What is the best approach to follow in case we have a closure of site recording, the trial section, and Part 2 related documents? Additionally, in case a PI desires a relocation in a different hospital, how should we handle the documents related to the previous hospital already approved? Thank you. Thank you. Jan Willem?
Yeah, so the approach to how to deal with a closed site during the course of a trial is described in the frequently asked questions on the C2CG website. So it describes that you remove the trial site and associated documents, but only if a site, closes during the course of a trial. If you're nearing the end of trial, logically all the sites will close, and then you don't need to remove all of them in CETIS just before you enter the end date. So when the whole trial as a whole has ended, nothing is needed. But if one or a few trial sites are closing during the trial, remove them. Then regarding the second point, the relocation, depends a bit on the situation, but if not only the PI, but also all the procedures of the trial also relocate to a different hospital, that hospital would become a new trial site, and all the usual requirements for trial sites apply. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. Update of CTIS was announced on Q2 2025. When will it be released? Can you provide details? What will be changed? Will it affect drafts of application already created? James?
Yeah, thank you. So version 51.0 of CTIS was released in April, and versions 52.0 and 52.1 were released in July. Once a new release of CETIS has been deployed, the release notes describing the changes are published on the CTIS website. When new releases are deployed, these do not affect applications already in draft, so you should be able to proceed working in the draft application already created. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. 2 commercial sponsors under contractual agreements are conducting trials with the same product. Are both sponsors required to submit annual safety reports to CTIS? Katja?
The answer is yes, but they can collaborate together to submit the same annual safety report. So, according to the CTR Article 43, the obligation to submit an annual safety report lies with the sponsor of the clinical trial. If there are 2 commercial sponsors conducting separate clinical trials with the same investigation medicinal product, each sponsor remains responsible for complying with their own regulatory obligations under the CTR, including the timely submission of the annual safety reports for their trials. However, it is supported that sponsors conducting these trials with the same IMP to collaborate. So sponsors may have an agreement to prepare a joint annual safety report covering the product and the trials concerned. In such case, the jointly prepared annual safety report can be submitted in CTIS for each of the clinical trials concerned, provided that it clearly identifies in the cover letter that the relevant trials for which the annual safety report applies. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. What details are required to be mentioned in those modification section of the protocol, and is it mandatory to be part of the protocol? EU-CTR or GCP are not precise on requirements. Jan-Willem?
Yeah, there is no mandatory protocol template at the moment, of course, but dose modification as such is a relevant aspect of a trial. Also in the for instance, the Dutch protocol template, there is a standard section on dose modification. And in the ICH M11 template, for the structured electronic protocol, likewise, there is a section on dose modification. And if you check the technical specifications of ICH M11, there's also a little clarification on what exactly can be described. So I advise to consult the ICH M11 template. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one. If there is no planned substantial modification before the nearing end of trial, do not substantial modification 81.9 items need to be submitted? Can this be included when the end of trial would be submitted? Or nothing is required to be completed in the EU-CTR portal, plus we just required to file these non-substantial modification items at sites and in our document repository. Jan-Willem?
Yeah, the last is correct. So if there's no further SM, then any remaining non-substantial modifications do not have to be submitted anymore in CETIS. Thanks.
Thank you. Getting closer to the end of the questions, we could submit in the DSSUR with the new safety information to be included in the new IB or RSI allow the sponsor to promptly inform investigators or given CTIS approval timelines for IB and ICF. What alternatives exist to notify investigators and patients more quickly? Jan Willem?
Yeah, more generally, it is important if there is new safety information that has an impact to notify the PIs as soon as possible. Usually, or often, the Dear Investigator letter is used for this purpose. So in this situation, don't wait for submission and authorization in CITES, but inform the PI as soon as you can. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's go with the last question of the day. Is an Article 81.9 non-substantial modification required when a trial over-enroll by less than 10% compared to the approved sample size? Katja?
Article 81.9 of the CTR requires the notification of non-SMs if these are relevant for the supervision. The sponsor needs to perform the assessment if these changes are relevant or not. A minor over-enrollment, this means inferior of 10% above the approved sample size, is generally not considered a substantial modification, provided that safety, statistical integrity, and subject protection are not compromised. In such cases, when the absolute number doesn't change or the change is considered insignificant and not impactful, as mentioned previously, a substantive non-SM should be submitted in CTIS together with the next SM, as it is indicated in the CTR Q&A Annex 4, unless otherwise specified in national guidance. And thank you.
Thank you all. I would like now to remind you of the upcoming CTIS events that we will have. On the 19th of November 2025 this year, we're going to have the last CTIS bite-sized talk. So I would like now to thank you all for attending this session of CTIS Walk-in Clinic. The post-event survey is now opened, so you can share your satisfaction with the event. You can provide your feedback in Slido using the passcode #clinic251. A recording will be available on the EMA website following the event. You can sign up for the CT Highlights newsletter for information on when the videos are available. The questions will be used as input to EMA training and support materials. We hope you enjoyed the CTIS Walk-in Clinic, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on the post-event survey.